What is up, survivors? I look a little bit different, but today's mod review is going to be the Excalibur Tranq mod. This mod adds a custom overlay of a couple different types of tranks that you can use, as well as these cool little glasses that I'm wearing. We're going to talk about all of it, and let's jump right into it. So Excalibur Tranqs, and again, we'll have a link to the workshop in the description of the video. It's pretty straightforward, right? Tranks, that's what this focuses on. There's two things you're going to be able to craft. You're going to be able to craft this meat spoiler and the Tranqs workbench. Tranq workbench is where most of your stuff's coming from. Literally, the meat spoiler is just to do that, to actually spoil meat. It's pretty simple, right? So I have GCM on, so I can spawn some of this stuff in and kind of just throw it in here for you. But you can make regular spoiled meat out of whatever you have. Come over and grab this griffin real quick. Let's grab some meat out of there. There's a couple of other things to go over too, but let's get this one out of the way. Throw the meat in there, and it'll just queue up on its own. As you can see, converts it pretty quick. It probably behooves you to have each different type of meat just thrown in here at one time, but this is a lot quicker than waiting for it, which is important because you're going to need lots of narcotics for doing all this stuff. So as it stands right now, let's go into the Ingrams part so we can check that out. You really just need access to the, to the tranq bench that you're going to unlock at level 10. All the different arrows you'll go down the line and unlock. The darts you'll unlock, the spears you'll unlock, the shocking tranq darts you'll unlock. All that stuff is there. And then the meat spoiler is also unlocked at level 10. Pretty straightforward. And all your tranqs, all your narcotics, all your stuff is going to be crafted on this table though. And there are a cool couple of other little things that this does. In your consumable section, in the drug section, is where you're going to make the different narcotics. This is essentially like a level up situation, right? So you make potent narcotics, and then you can make potent stimulants. You can make pure stimulants, distilled. What these are doing, it's just exponentially increasing how effective these narcotics are, or how effective these stimulants are. Also, you have a food remover. You can use that on a creature that's knocked out, and essentially drain all its food down, making the tame a lot quicker. So that is pretty much what you're looking at as far as narcotics. It's just kind of extra tiers instead of just narcotics. Think of it as like a tier 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of thing. And that's kind of how the rest of this works too. Also in your consumable section, you'll have this level up relic. This allows you to put this in the inventory of one of your tames and consume it. What it lets you do is keep track of the level ups that you've assigned to the creature. Well, this really accounts for like breeding, right? So typically when you're breeding animals, your stats don't, your level up stats don't matter. It's just the tamed stats that do. So you'll be able to keep track of that just to be able to use those creatures and then also breed them and know the stats as well. The structures are in here. You can make the same structures in here. I'm not sure why that's there, but it is available there. Your tools, you have the pickup relic, which is pretty cool. We'll go over that one too, but that essentially can turn essentially any animal into a shoulder pet, and you just pick it right up. In your weapons, your ammo, this is pretty much where you're going to make all of your arrows and darts and shocking darts and spears. And then in your primitive melee, you can actually make tranq boomerangs, which is pretty fun. Backing up, we have three different ways of using like a spyglass. Essentially, you have a normal like spyglass that you would typically use. You can variable zoom, but it also shows you all the tame food and all that good stuff. They have more of like a tech binoculars thing. It essentially looks like the tech binoculars, just gives you a lot more information. And then when you have what I'm using right here is actually a spyglass skin that goes over your helmet, and it's always on. So depending on what you want to use, sometimes you want this HUD always on when you're looking at creatures, sometimes you might not. But just for the ease of this video, I just used the skin so that it's always on, just so we can always see what's going on. The guns are still going to be the same. We're still going to use a crossbow, harpoon launcher, and a long neck rifle out of all this. But to go back into the ammunition section, and this is pretty straightforward with all of this, right? You can see the tier, the green to blue to purple to pink. It's the same way. You use like a potent narcotic to make these, a concentrated narcotic to make the next step, distilled to make the next step, pure to make the next step. You'll actually need the casings to make some of the dart ammo later on, I believe. Yeah, they require the dart casings. The dart casings are just metal and simple bullets, right? So again, this is all kind of a tier issue, right? So it's just think of this as like you have your regular darts, and this is like a tier 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at it that way. It's pretty simple to get by. Same thing with everything else. You still need biotoxin to make some of this stuff. You're still going to need the whatever narcotic of choice that you would normally need. Spears, you're still going to need the spear bolt. The boomerangs, wooden fiber to make them, but then on top of that, you're going to be using whatever narcotic you would normally use to make those. It's pretty straightforward with how this works, but the workbench looks great. I like how it's all laid out. I like the crossbow and The long neck out here and everything here. The meat spoiler looks great. None of these, either of these workstations are very big. They don't take up a lot of space. I really dig that. Coming over here, so what I did was actually use the level track potion on the level track relic on this guy already, and I leveled 1 level up into health. And what you can see is his health meter is 33-1. 33 being that's how many levels he had when he was tamed, the 1 being the extra level that I added on to him. And as we can see, if I go back through, level up his health again, 33-2. So instead of saying 35, just 35 levels in health, it separates how many are in each one, making this a lot easier when it comes down to breeding animals. And again, you'd be able to use this spyglass on the breeding tames that you're doing, so you don't even really need to watch for numbers per se. You can, like the actual stat in and of itself, like how much health it actually is, you really just pay attention to that first number, and it's pretty easy going. This will also keep track of the color patterns for you. On wild animals, this will keep track of like food and torpor ratings and all that good stuff. But essentially, that's what it is. Use this pickup relic is a little bit different. You just use it on them one time, and I can just drag this back. But that's how these work. You place them in the dino's inventory, and then you consume them on there, and then from that point onward, you can just do that stuff. I use the pickup relic, and I have the option to pick up the griffin. It doesn't show up on my back or anything like that. At least it doesn't appear to be showing up on my back. It looks like it might be trying to sometimes. There you go. See how the camera's like blipping it a little bit? It's acting like it's kind of doing it. I don't know if maybe it's just certain animals just don't work very well with it. But in any case, it works just like a shoulder pet. You can double tap F and whoop, it gets thrown right back out here again. So pretty cut and dry with that. I dig the spyglass. Spyglass is super useful. I like that for sure. At first, I thought this was just tranqs, but I can see this being useful for a couple of other things as well. Anywho, so let's go around and find some wild critters and test some of these tranqs out. Here we go. Here's a pack of raptors. Again, I've had some admin commands on so that I can't be seen doing any of this, but so we're just going to try, let's try the potent one out first. Now, these are all low levels. It's like a vanilla level scaling, so you're not going to see super high levels in here. But when I hover the cursor over here, you can see what tame food it wants. You can see its stats, whether it's a male or female. You can also see all the color choices. Everything is right here when you hover over it, which is pretty neat. So this is would essentially be the first layer of the Excalibur Tranqs on dart form. And one shot, gone. That's pretty awesome. And as you can see, little to no damage. Very little damage done, even at a low level. What level is this guy? 26. She's a 26. Probably going to be a one-hit knockout on just about any of this stuff. And this is just the potent ones. What about our T-Rex over here? T-Rex probably has a pretty decent amount of torpor. Level 40. Let's see what we get. So it looks like the over 1,000. 1,100. 1,100 just off of the first one. All right. This is a good test. So let's go take, all right, so that was the green one. So now I want the blue dart. Where's the blue dart? All right. So the blue dart, we're sitting at 1070-ish. Hit it with the blue dart and wow, okay. All right, considerably more. That's what, like 1,500 easy. More than that, 1,700. That's a good chunk right there. It's about 1,500-ish. Right? About 1,500-ish. So let's test out the next level. The next level would be our purple. Let's grab the purple ones. These are the distilled darts. Let's try this one. So we're about 2,600. Hit this sucker, and it is about 2,500 torpor. So I would say it's supposed to be like maybe 500. Maybe 1,000, 1,500, 2,500 is probably what we're looking at here. Probably gonna have to find something bigger to test this last one out on though. Oh, there's another T-Rex, level 23. Should be enough. Let's try it. And that was the purple. So now we're on to the pink. This is the pure. This is the like the high-end one, the best one you can get. Of course, you're too busy fighting with a Bronto, but we don't really care for the sake of testing. Whoa. 3,000 and still like 3,100. Wow. Over 3,000 torpor. That's insane. Wow. Dare I even ask what, I mean, while we're at it, let's test the high-end stuff, all right? Let's put the shocking dart on here. See what this does. This is the highest rating on the shock dart. That had 6,200 torpor and it's just out like a light. Wow. That's a little insane. So it does well over 6,000. I mean, this thing does with no sign of stopping. The torpor on these things has to be insane. Let's try to find something a little bit bigger, maybe. Okay, let's test out a Giga. And this is the same. This is the highest end shocking tranq darts, right? Wow. Okay, so it sits at about 6,000 torpor. Wow, 3 shots. This guy's gonna be out cold. Nah, it's a level 7 Giga, right? 3 shots out cold. This is a little insane. Oh man, this is so cool. I think we need to try out the boomerangs at this point. Where are those? All right, so let's just go for the highest end boomerang, right? Let's do the highest end one. 1,400, and it still comes back. Wow. Okay. Boink. This is pretty fun that you could do this. I could probably literally just run around all day with these things, with this boomerang right here. I could just do this all day long. Oh man, that's hilarious. That's great. And it comes back to you. Wonderful. All right, so obviously very effective, right? Very effective. So let's go back to the crafting stations and see just how much resources some of this stuff is costing to make. All right, so let's take a look at some of these narcotics, right? Because that's really, because the weapon ammo, it seems like it's taking 1 per, regardless of what you're making, right? So it's 1 of these narcotics per, yeah, it looks like it's a standard 1 per. So let's go back and to really take a look at what it costs to make some of these. So it looks like the gray bowls would be your narcotics, the colored bowls would be your stimulants. So to make just the potent narcotics, it's 5 narcotics and a spoiled meat. So I guess that's not too bad, really. 5 narcotics per. So that's really not that bad. And I get it, right? The idea is supposed to be 5 times as much, put 5 narcotics in it. Then we have our concentrated that it's supposed to be 10 times. So this is 2 of the, well, this is the stimulant, sorry. This is 10 times as much as the standard, which would be 2 of these potent, which makes sense. Mathematically, it makes sense. You use as many narcotics to make those things. So it kind of just crams it all up into 1 dart for you. And then when we get towards the higher end stuff, you have to start incorporating rare flowers and more spoiled meat into it. Okay, and even Titan Bow and Venom for the last one. Okay, so I kind of like that. I was a little worried that they would be a little too easy to make, but I don't think they are actually. And you're really not cheating a system at all. You're not bypassing anything. You're gonna have to make as much resources as you normally would. You're just gonna be able to compound it all. You know, instead of taking the tranq dart and making the long neck rifle and making 300 tranq darts to go knock out that Giga, you'd still have to put just as much effort into harvesting all the resources. You just wouldn't have to carry that many around, making the knockout part significantly easier. I dig that. I can dig that. I can get behind it. I think it's pretty good. This is also super helpful on servers that have a really high level cap on your animals, right? So that means their torpor is going to be that much higher, and you're going to have to spend a whole lot of time knocking these guys out. So that speeds up that process a little bit. I can also see this really being good for more of a total conversion mod, where you get a lot of insanely leveled or crazy creatures that naturally have a high torpor. Something like that is super useful as well. The idea of having the stimulants is pretty cool too. And again, on the surface, I just thought this was like a tranquilizer sort of mod, but it's not. It's got a lot of nice little touches to it. The idea of being able to have all the stimulants is good. The food remover is awesome. You can just plug that on a creature and bam, the food goes away, and you just pretty much instantly tame almost, as long as you have the right stuff. The level up relic is super nice for breeding purposes. And I really like this because oftentimes I grab animals and I grab them and I sit them to the side because I'm going to breed them and I never get the chance to use them, and I like the way they look or stuff like that. And I don't have to worry about that with this. I can keep track of all those stats and still go out and use those animals, which is pretty good. The meat spoiler works fantastically. The pickup relic is, I mean, I could see using the pickup relic when you get into situations where you're glitched or stuck behind a rock or something like that. That's probably where I would use it a bit more. I don't know if I would use that one very much. I feel like that one, for me anyway, isn't really applicable too much. But if you're cave diving instead of cryopotting or soul trapping, if you're using dino storage, you could go down that route. So I get it. I get why it's there. The boomerangs are hysterical. I could literally just run around on a map with these boomerangs all day. That's too fun. I love it whenever they make like weapons that aren't really commonly used and then start making them useful. I really love that. I also like that the mod creator took the time to make sure that there were spear bolt versions of this too. That's awesome. So all your water taming stuff, you don't have to worry about making arrows. You can make spear bolts and you can do pretty good with that. These spyglasses are amazing too. The spyglasses are absolutely cool. So let's actually look at that real quick. One last look-see while we're doing this. So what I'm going to do is remove the helmet skin and then we'll test this one out too. All right, so where are we at? Down on the beach, a couple of turtles over here. So let's try the regular spyglass out first. Now you can do a hover over to give you all that information, or you can still toggle zoom in and see it too. I like that I don't necessarily have to be aiming with that. I can just pull up on it. If it's right in front of me, I can do that. If there is an animal further out, which of course there is not one because I need them to be one. Well, there we go, like the peg over here. I can zoom in and check all that stuff out. Really clean, really like that one. Let's check the binoculars out. Different reticle. Still works looks like it was working the same way. I don't know if that's just being glitchy or what with the... Doesn't look like the binoculars work very well from the hip. Looks like you definitely need to pull those up, but I'm getting everything that you get out of the tech. Oh, and like a rangefinder. I love that. So you get a rangefinder on top of it. You get your longitude, your latitude, your compass directional. You get everything that you get out of the normal tech binoculars, and then you get the spyglass wrapped into it as well. Totally cool. I like that. So, and the option to be able to switch back and forth is pretty nice too. You might not want the skin on your helmet all the time, every time, or you might have another skin that you like better, so you don't want to put that on there. All in all, it's pretty fun. Man, again, I can't stress enough. I really thought that was just going to be tranquilizers. I didn't expect there to be all this other cool stuff involved in here. So I would definitely say check this one out. I think this is applicable to a lot of different servers for a lot of different reasons. Highly suggest this one. That is it, guys. That is Excalibur Tranqs. Again, we will have a link to the workshop in the description of the video so you guys can check that out at your leisure. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you on the next one.